Hey, welcome everyone to Global Body Workers podcast. This is the recovery spot episode with my lovely guest, Miranda, the owner of the recovery spa. What's up?
Not much. Just chatting
Yeah,
it up
I
already.
know, right? We
Yeah.
couldn't shut the hell up before, but
Yeah.
here we are.
Maybe we should finally record now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. You're my first guest. I'm excited to do this. This is like a cool space to like gather ideas and share them and whatnot. And like I've been following you for the past 2 years roughly, even as like a student, and like I learned so much from you. Like that's why I wanted you on the show because I see you hella successful, but I see the work ethic and like I feel like you have a lot to share and like just so much knowledge that future LMTs or new solo LMTs can like learn from. We both know it's hard as hell, So why not all help each other? You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you. That's very
Yeah,
fun.
for sure.
Thank you. No
all
kidding.
right.
I
All right, so
appreciate
let's
it. Same for you, though. Seriously, like
thank you.
you've been grinding just as hard as I have. So
I'm trying.
it's fun to watch each other grow and succeed.
Exactly. All right, cool. So I have a couple questions for you. So we're gonna get into it, and then like whatever we feel like talking about, we'll just go on.
Awesome.
So, first question, Miranda. I wrote, how was learning during COVID? I heard there was crazy stories about like Swedish practicals online and all this BS. Like that seems like a nightmare. So, yeah, tell me more about it.
Yeah, I mean, so that was a huge reason why I ended up moving to Florida, actually, even in the first place. But I originally went to massage school in North Carolina. That was where I started,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually was enrolled in the I guess like the spring semester for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like the worst semester to ever be enrolled in ever.
The heat, the heart of COVID,
It
basically.
literally was like I remember. So we started the semester, right? And I was waitressing at the time.
Mhm.
Was a nurse aide, and then I switched to waitressing because I found out I was like, I don't want to
Make
be
more money.
or work in hospitals or
Yeah.
yeah. It's just a hard job, and props to anybody who can do it. I just can't. So
Oh,
I was
CNA,
like,
right?
yeah, I was a CNA,
Bro.
and I was in school, um, thinking I was kind of still on the fence about like, do I want to do nursing? Do I want to? I was kind of starting to circle in though on like being an X-ray tech, so I was looking at radiography programs,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and I quickly realized I was like, okay, this isn't what I want to do, so I pivoted, and that's when I found massage. I started massage school in North Carolina in 2020, and it was like early January. We got started. Everything was chill. It was super fun. I was learning, kind of, it was nice because I was in college learning all that stuff. So when I got into massage school,
It was a little
going back
easier.
over the anatomy, yeah, it was great. I loved
Right.
it, and it came a little bit easier. So that was kind of nice to transition from one to the other because it was a
Yeah.
very smooth transition, in my opinion, with the
Mhm.
education part of it.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I remember, at my waitressing job, everybody was kind of there's some chatter, they're like, there's this disease in
Oh,
China, and
right.
like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to catch that shit, and everybody, so like everybody's
Yeah.
kind of talking about it, but it's also this very like elusive thing that you don't, you know how the news is. They blow shit up. They make things
Right.
sound so crazy
They're just
that
like, whatever. Okay, it's not gonna happen here.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
you don't foresee it actually panning out the way that it did.
Mhm.
And I think everybody felt the same way with that. Maybe some people were panicked, but like a lot of people overall, I think were kind of like me, where it's like, oh yeah, there's this thing, but it's like, I don't really see it becoming anything that serious.
Right.
I was going to massage school, and I remember it was around March, which was when the lockdown
When
started.
shit blew up. Yeah.
Actually hit the fan, like for
Yeah.
real,
Yeah.
like everywhere. And we were in class on a Friday, and our class days were Monday through Friday. And I remember we were packing up on Friday, and one of my fellow students was asking the instructor, like, hey, like, I've been hearing some scary stuff about this COVID stuff, do you think that's going to affect us during this semester? And our instructor was like, no, like we don't see it, becoming out of hand or anything. So
Yeah,
she
right.
reassured us, she's like, oh, I wouldn't worry about, like we're not planning on closing, basically, if that's what you're asking. And so we were all kind of like, okay, cool, like dope, see you on Monday, right? So we
Yeah,
leave, come back on Monday, we're unpacking, and the school that I went to, it was kind of funny because it was a very like it was more of a holistic school rather than a clinical school.
that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Massage wise, yeah, super cool. So I got to experience two different kinds of schools basically, which was fun. But with that one, we didn't have desks or anything. We sat on yoga mats
Yeah, I kind
on
of
the
went through the
floor.
same thing, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which was fun. It was a more like chill setting, and we
Yeah,
just had like our
exactly.
pillows on the floor, and we just like sit there for
It's cute.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. And so we were sitting all in on our little mats. We had our books out. We were ready to roll, and our school director came in, and she was like, "Hey guys, I need y'all to pack up. We're closing the doors like right
Yeah.
now."
Like right
And we were
now.
like, "What?" It just showed like how quickly shit escalated, I guess, because uh, it was nowhere in our mind that that was going to happen, basically, because we were just told that it'd be fine and we weren't going to close. So things closed, and they said, "Hey, like we're going to be closing the school for 2 weeks." The famous last words of
Right.
every, you know.
All right.
And so 2 weeks come and go, and they're like, "Hey, I mean, obviously, we still can't come back. It's probably going to look more like 2 months." And by then, Florida was like back open.
What is like what COVID? Like
By
take
then,
your mask
Florida was
off.
already like fully functioning again,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
were still in the beginning phase in North Carolina
Okay.
with the lockdowns. Honestly, things just got more and more strict. It was such a crazy time, but we decided to try to continue the semester online. They literally took a vote from the students. Like they were like, "Hey
Really?
guys, like we're obviously going this is the first time we've ever dealt with something like
Right,
this,
right,
so
right,
like
right,
let's
right.
try to roll with the punches." And so we were doing anatomy classes online. It was tough though because we were getting to that point in massage school where we were supposed to start working on each other.
Body work, yeah.
Yeah, like we were getting to that hands-on portion of massage school, which is supposed to be the most fun part.
Yeah,
And
it is.
here we are having to stay 6 feet away from everyone. Like
Yeah,
we're all like our classes were basically what we're doing right now. Like it was all on Zoom.
yeah, true, yeah.
It is so crazy. And so basically, after a few weeks of trying to salvage this massage school experience, through COVID, a lot of my fellow students, we were all in a group chat and we all kind of came together and we were like, hey, like, we just don't really feel like this is like the
Gonna
best
work.
education that
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, and it's nobody's fault, but
No,
it's not working,
it is what it is.
for something that's so physical, it's not working. And so we brought that information to our
The
school
director.
director,
Yeah.
and she said, okay, we'll issue the refunds. So
Damn.
yeah, they
That was
issued.
nice.
It was very kind of them because I was expecting maybe like a 50%
Yeah,
refund
yeah. Because people need to
because
get paid.
yeah, because I mean they did do as much
Things.
as much as they could. So it was
Right.
like I wasn't expecting a full refund, but they did fully refund us, which was very nice of them. And at that point, I was kind of like, okay, well, I can either sit around and kind of wait for this thing to blow over. But at that point, it was looking so serious. I was like, is this ever going to blow over? Like, I don't even
Mm.
know, dude.
Right, right, right.
And I remember one of my friends had recently moved down to Florida during that exact period of time and
Mm.
let me know that, hey, it's wide open here. Just bring your mask and you're good.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
that's
was
good.
like, okay. So I looked for massage schools in Florida, and that's where I ended up in Melbourne for almost a year.
Oh, okay.
And I went to Space Coast Massage in
Okay.
Melbourne. Yeah, I mean, when I came down here for that semester, I started in the fall of 2020, so I did have to take a little break,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But it was a very normal experience after that point, which,
Good.
yeah, so I feel super blessed. I don't know how it was for you,
Oh,
because you were a little bit after that,
I was
probably.
at the tail end of COVID. Like literally, I would say the first probably month was just mask on, and that
Oh,
was
yeah.
it. And then like that was it. And then we took masks off, and then it was just business as usual kind of thing. Hey,
Yeah.
buddy.
He likes to be involved.
Oh,
Everything.
no, but that's a crazy story, and that I'm glad you found a way out and made yourself to get to the point where you want to be and to graduate essentially. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm glad too. I was frustrated at the time for sure, but you figure it out, get through it.
perseverance, yeah.
Moved to Florida, the Wild West.
It is, but it's cool down here. Like my teachers told me, my massage teachers, they said the best two places to do massage business wise is Florida and Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I've heard the exact same thing as well.
because of tourism, I guess, and
Yeah.
I don't know, old people, I guess. I don't know. That's what it is.
People
But
who need us desperately. Yeah.
right, exactly. But
Mhm.
like consistent, not just
Yeah.
once a month thing. But all right, so moving on to your next question. So time passed, all this stuff, and you found yourself to be a part-time instructor. How'd that go about? Where that idea sparked from?
Yeah, so it actually wasn't my idea because I wouldn't have given myself the, I guess, like the credit to say like, oh, oh, I just graduated, I should start teaching, But I was like the highest scoring student in my class,
Okay, cool.
and which I'm like, I've never been that before, so I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I was like a B student, I was like, I tried, but like I wasn't,
But you had the anatomy, so that's why it was an easy
I did.
transfer. So
Yeah, I did. I also was one of this is not coming across as, or this is not me trying to give myself extra credit in any way or
do
anything,
it.
but
No, do
I I wasn't afraid to apply pressure. Like I was one of
it.
those students who like at
Oh, I
first
got you.
I used to massage really, really, really light when I was first starting in school, which I think everybody kind of did. We were
Yeah,
all a
yeah.
little
That's
nervous.
natural.
Yeah, we were like, oh, we don't want to hurt people.
Yeah.
And I was one of the students who quickly picked up deep tissue, like
Yeah.
right off the bat. And I actually ended up kind of getting mentored by our school director in a way. So he specialized in sports massage therapy.
Oh.
And I felt like I was very grateful. It felt like he kind of took a little bit of a special interest in kind of showing me the ropes a little
Yeah,
extra.
yeah.
And I think it was because he knew that that's what I wanted to do. So he was like, hey, let me just like give you some extra pointers. And I feel like he was very critical of me a lot of the time, but like in a good way. It was like tough
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like if he was demonstrating a deep tissue technique, he would like single me out to like strip my bicep or something. He would make me cry on the table. Like I literally just have tears. It's so embarrassing to cry in front of like 20 people.
No, but the thing is, like, LNT school is the most emotional roller coaster
Yeah,
ever.
it
People
is.
don't realize that it's not normal school. It's like it feels like a drama. It feels like a soap opera, honestly, sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like people just like the hardest, like toughest people end up like crying and letting it all out, and like it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
real. Like, yeah, but
You
no,
see
it's
it.
crazy. But
Yeah.
so like I'm assuming like because everyone saw you as like the top notch student that they were like pushing you to instruct, basically.
Kind of, yeah. So the owner of the school ended up approaching me when I graduated, and she just,
Mm.
because I did ask her for a job to work at the spa that was associated with the school. So there was two halves.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they had an actual spa with licensed therapists and all that. And then it is. And she was known a lot for her sports massage work. She worked a
That's
lot with
cool.
the Florida Marlins. Yeah. She's an amazing therapist. But I
Mm.
was like, massage therapy all fame? I ain't never heard of it. So, but super cool. Like, super cool. Everybody looked up to her a lot. And
That's
so I
good.
asked her for a job, and I was super happy that she did offer me a job. And then she was like, hey, like, we would love for you to work with students basically for Massage 101, basically. So I was working directly with students who were just learning their strokes, right? Like you're learning your effleurage, your petrissage, your all that jazz, and you're learning your body mechanics. So I really enjoyed being a part-time instructor in that department. And basically I was kind of like a glorified like teacher's assistant in a way, like
Yeah, I was
because
about to say that's what it's sounding like. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't have like my own class that I taught. I just taught alongside her. And so I was just somebody who, it's like because of the amount of students that we had, we needed both of us to be constantly working our way around the room and working with students. And that was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And I got to really cement the knowledge that I learned
Yeah,
from massage
exactly.
school.
Yeah.
That's the best part about teaching. Even if you're just teaching the basics,
Mhm.
you kind of relearn everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in a very good way. Like it's
Yeah.
like you learn it to the point where you're very confident to communicate that information back to
Exactly.
someone. And that's yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I loved it. Yeah.
good. No, they say the best way to like master something is just teach it, like,
Mhm.
because then you're forced to be good at it or whatever the fuck. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Honestly, like I think they should actually make that into positions, a teacher's aide position, because there's massage instructors, but I don't actually see like teacher's aides
Yeah.
like in certain schools, and I think that's a great position, honestly,
It is.
because
And
like
I didn't even like they didn't even give me that position either. They
they
were
just
just
made
you're
it for
like
you.
you're an instructor, yeah, paid employee basically. But, I kind of just like sat back and let the instructors teach the anatomy and everything like that. And then when it came to hands-on work, that was when I came in and also teaching the protocols of the school because
Right.
a lot of the instructors, especially the newer instructors, didn't understand the school protocols.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that part was on me. So they would look to me and be like, "Miranda, what do we do?"
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's cool.
It's like, how do you do the burrito roll with the? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You don't roll.
Like,
The
so we
fuck is?
okay. So I'll yeah.
Wait, is this to flip people over? Please tell. Please tell.
So we you know how with student I don't well actually I don't know maybe every school is really different about this, but for student massages, when you were working on like clients in the clinical setting, we had this big room with just a bunch of massage tables, and we had like sheets separating all the tables.
Right. Yeah. No.
Was it like
Yeah.
that for you too?
In the actual like classroom, yeah,
Mhm.
and clinicals, yes, but like then there's like a more professional clinicals, and those are separate rooms or some shit like that.
Okay.
But similar. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
burrito roll.
yeah. So basically, because, it's like you're in this room with a bunch of people
Right.
and you're still working on a client who, for the most part, is not clothed,
Right.
you have to get creative about how you're going to drape them
Yeah.
while you're flipping them and
Right.
getting them on and off the table. So we had to do this thing called the burrito roll.
So funny. I could just imagine.
So basically we would like have the client like roll on their side and we would like tuck the blanket under them and then be like, okay, hold on to this. And then we would like have them roll back onto their and then roll over onto their side to burrito wrap them in their blanket.
I have to see this in person. Like that
It was
shit's so funny.
crazy.
Wait,
Yeah.
do
I
you
mean,
still do that? Or
I
you
they
have?
still teach that. I mean, I don't do that
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
When you're working in your own room, you don't have to worry about other people looking at
Right.
your clients, so
Yeah.
it's much less weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting. So I was the teacher of the burrito roll in
Yeah.
school. So
I honestly, I think like we just said, like teaching is forcing yourself to master like your skills. So I
yeah,
feel like that definitely helped you solidify yourself and like help you gain confidence in your skills because you were forced to tell others how to do it.
yeah,
So that's definitely a plus, and that definitely like was a big push in your journey and all that jazz.
yeah,
Talking more about your specific journey, the next question is, so what specifically did you not like in, and we're skipping ahead, but what specifically did you not like in the corporate spa world that made you go solo?
yeah. Okay. So, there's a lot of things, but I would say the first thing that I noticed when I
Mhm.
started working for someone else, that very first job that I had working at the spa attached to the school, right?
Okay, right.
Because our instructors were highly critical of massage envy and hand and stone.
Mhm.
And so they were like, oh, like if you can work for, I guess, like a smaller business or work with a business that I guess has like a business that kind of advocates a little bit more for the massage therapists, like the quality of honestly just treating them humanely. Like if we really get down to it, you know what I mean? Because some companies will treat you like a
Yeah.
robot. They'll act like you don't need water or food or nothing, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah.
and so I started working there, and while it was a decent work environment. Like, it wasn't a horrible work environment, but they paid very, very low. And
Yeah, I expected that. Yeah.
yeah, and that sucked because yeah, that sucked a lot because I remember I was living by myself. I had to pay my rent on my
Dang.
own. I had also just moved. I had relocated apartments to Orlando, and at the time
Mhm.
I was still living in Orlando and working in Melbourne. So it was like I was making that hour commute every
It's
day.
an hour? What the
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I just remember how much like I was disappointed and let down by the idea of like I'm working full time and I can't pay my rent. Like this is
Yeah,
really
you
rough.
you went to school for this and it's not worth it now. Like, like
Yes. And
yeah.
I also felt like I was promised a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's like you're gonna make so much money, buddy. Like, yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
and they do make a lot of steep expectations for students in terms of
Right.
like, how much you'll make. And I remember going to the owner,
The direct.
like the owner of the entire business. I remember telling her, I was like, hey, like, I'm really struggling to pay my bills right now. Like, is there anything that we can do? Because I knew that I was started on the absolute lowest amount of commission. And also, the massages there were not priced very high at all. Actually, they were priced extremely, extremely low, like $60 an hour kind of prices, which, depending on where you live, that might be fine.
Mm.
Paying these new rent prices, as we're aware of, are, which are sky high nowadays.
Yeah, no, it's impossible.
Oh, bro, like if you pay me, 20% commission on $60 an hour, and we're talking,
That's what you were doing?
yeah,
20%?
yeah, yeah, and it was like 20 to 23, something like that, like super duper low.
Yeah, yeah.
And and like a lot of the clients would tip like $5 or something like
Yeah, no. Like when it's like student clinics or some like low level shit like that, it's
that.
like
Yeah. Oh, and,
$10
and
is like a lot. Like
yeah, and that was like licensed work though. That was my licensed
that.
work. It's
That's really
crazy.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, she was kind of like, "Oh, well, I guess you can just work more hours."
No.
And
What the
and I
fuck?
had I had already maxed out the amount of hours that they would allow me to work legally.
Right.
And so she was like, I'm just gonna have you sign this thing basically saying that you are forfeiting like you acknowledge that you're not gonna get health benefits essentially if you work these like even more
Oh,
hours.
oh,
You know
right.
what I mean? So they would
Yeah.
cap you because, the company didn't offer health benefits, which
See
is
these
very
bad vibes
common.
already? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, so she was just like, basically just sign this thing saying like you're aware that if you work these hours, you're still not going to get like these benefits, right? And I signed because I was just like, well, this is what I have to do. But it
Right.
just made me really discouraged because she was
Not giving a
she
fuck
was
about you.
a fellow massage
Oh,
therapist.
she was Ellen too. Yeah. Sad. Yeah.
And I was a little bit, I guess, surprised by, I guess, like what it felt was like a bit of just
Felt
a,
fake.
you're not really looking out for,
No.
you're not looking out for others, I guess, in that
For
way.
money.
And not that it's like her job to care about my well-being necessarily, but you would hope and expect that from somebody who understands what it is that you're going through and the
You
work that.
built somebody up in school for so long, and now you're just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was doing that as well as the teaching, and I could barely afford to live at all. Like I was
Yeah.
so afraid
Yeah.
of getting evicted like all the time just because like
Right.
this, just like where is this money going to come from?
Yeah. Like real talk. Like at the beginning, and I wish I knew this. Like you need another job. Period.
Yeah.
At the beginning. But yeah. No. Continue. Continue.
Yeah.
The corporate spa.
Yeah, so I ended up leaving there. I went to It was funny, I actually ended up meeting this woman. She came in for a massage and she was like, "Hey, like I feel like she had some kind of a background with the company or something like that because
Okay.
she was just like, "Hey, like, if you come and work for me, like I'll pay you this much." But she's like, "But, I run a small massage practice and I'm really looking for another therapist and I love your work. I love your massage. Just think about it. Like, let me give you my number and like we can talk details and if you're interested in it, like come and work for me." So it ended up working out. I really liked the deal that she offered, and she did pay me pretty well, like hourly, like for being an employee. She paid me, it was a 60-40 split, which was super nice, compared to 20 something.
20. That's I
Yeah.
never even heard of 20. That's
It's
crazy.
low. Yeah, it's low, low, low. Because even like, I mean, even on the high, I know it was for sure 23 or less, for sure. But I know it was like 20 to 30, 20 to 23%. And it was rough. And
Mhm.
I remember, working for this woman, and she's so sweet. By the way, she was so, so sweet. The only issue that we did run into is just a bit of a, and I think it was maybe because she was a little bit overwhelmed by, running her business with
It's hard.
employees now. Yeah, because she hired me and she hired two other people. And it, just kind of like communication issues, like a little bit of lack of organization.
Yeah.
So due to that, I ended up leaving that job after probably like 6 to 7 months or so, just because I was like, one, I'm also still driving an hour to work from Orlando.
Oh,
So yeah, I was doing
yeah.
that commute for a hot minute, and I decided to like leave that one just because I was like, this is just a little too disorganized. I feel like I'm under a lot of stress because I don't know what's coming next. Not to get into too many details, but kind of that sort of
So,
situation.
yeah.
And so then I started working for a corporate spa in Orlando that supposedly had like the highest pay rate out of like any other spa that I could go work for in the area.
Right.
And I was very excited by that because I was like, well, maybe I can like finally kind of afford my bills again and, not be struggling so much because I had no aspirations to go off on my own. So I was just trying to figure out like what's the best fit for me. And I just hoped that I would find the right fit if I
Yeah.
just hopped around enough, you know what I mean? And which is not always great to do, but, I just,
That's what we do in the beginning, low key,
yeah.
until something sparks in our head, and we're just like, no, we got to do better.
Right. Exactly. And so I started working there and the pay was good. So pay was pretty good because they actually charged a good amount for those services. It was a
Right, as they
high-end
should.
spa. Yeah, exactly. And it was in a touristy area in Orlando. So like you had a decent flow of clients coming through. I mean, the only part though, the only drawback to that was that it was a little bit more difficult to build a good group of
Steady
regulars
client.
that come and see you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're just tourists.
Right. Like they're all coming from out of town. Like you'd get some regulars, but overall, like most people that were coming through your doors are people that you're never going to see again. So that
It's
was,
like a little impersonal.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a little tough. And like you would try to connect with them and everything, like, and do things to the best of your ability. But when it came to like trying to build regulars and like the spa would reward you for building regulars and getting refills and stuff like that. But like
Right, 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 right.
it
Yeah.
was still a struggle. So,
Yeah.
you tried your best, but you can't
Right.
win them all. That kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the work environment I remember was so bad. It was so, so bad.
It's
And
intense.
what's that?
It was just intense.
It was so intense. So basically, it was like mandatory hours, first of all. A lot of corporate spas will allow you to pick your hours most
Right.
of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
right? This
Flexibility.
one, yeah. And this one was show up at 8:30 and you don't leave till 6, even if you just have one client on the books.
But you get paid during the time.
No, you
Yeah.
don't get, yeah.
That's fucking bullshit. That's
It,
crazy. Wow.
I was like, how is this legal?
No, I don't think it is. As a 1099, I don't think it
Yeah.
is. But anyways.
Well, and that one was they had us hired under, and this was the thing is I was like, maybe this is a loophole that I wasn't aware of, but
Yeah.
they had us on a W-4, I believe.
What the fuck?
I don't even know what that is. It wasn't a W-2, it was a W-4, I believe, from
Loophole.
what I recall. And
Okay.
it was basically like we were employees, but yeah, it was weird because it was almost like you were a 1099 and a W-2.
And a W-2 at the same time.
And they
Yeah.
like sync that up for some
So
reason.
they treated you like a W-2. They didn't, but they paid you as a 1099. Essentially, like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of gave them a lot of
Control. Wow, that's
And
wild.
yeah, so that was kind of tough because I also had a dog and
You
when
have
you're
to take care of it. Yeah.
yeah, when you're working a 9-hour day, you gotta find help to watch your dog and stuff like that. So it was like I was paying every day for like doggy daycare and
You're a
you
real
know
dog mom.
Yeah, exactly. Total
Yeah.
dog mom vibes. And I loved it because he got me through that like crazy rough period where life was just like so up in the air all the time. But it was things like, having us work on like 8 clients a day and only getting like a 30-minute break. And,
That's crazy.
it was rough. Like, I'm
When do you
telling
eat?
you.
Like, when do
Right.
you eat?
That's the
When do
thing.
you poop?
Literally,
When do you poop?
I've
I
been
need to
holding
poop.
in my pee for 4 clients. Like, this
Yeah,
is rough.
that's how you get a UTI. Like, what the
Yes,
fuck?
it is. Is
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
also too, we had like this whole thing too about like we didn't even have like a designated lunchroom either. Like they had like it was crazy. It was
Yeah,
just really frustrating from the employee's perspective because it was like, dude, we're literally getting treated like trash, and we're the ones bringing in all the money here. Like it's like because like our
like,
GM, like she had no massage experience. Like our front desk workers, they had no, they had no
gee.
practice, in the industry or anything. So we were
Hmm.
the ones really running the show, but we weren't allowed to make any of the decisions. We had no weight in anything about how we were being treated. And the
They
people who,
can't they can't empathize because they haven't done it. You know,
yeah, exactly. But it was crazy because I was like, do they just keep forgetting that we're working a physical labor job?
it's fucking hurts. Like it does.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, and then I met therapists who had been working there for a very long time, who had really bad
Wow.
carpal tunnel that had developed over the years. Just overuse. Like it really was overuse because these people were working, over 40 hours a week of massage hours.
Isn't that illegal? Like actually, yeah. Because
Yeah,
yeah, I'm pretty
it's
sure that's illegal.
it's
Like
not. Yeah, I can't. I cannot see how it would be legal or fair, and especially just the way that we were being forced to work really, really hard, during those hours. And they would have us come in for mandatory trainings that would be unpaid,
that's
like that.
why. Oh my god.
It was bad, dude. It was bad. And so maybe that's why I'm so biased towards going solo because
Yeah, I
like,
mean, so am I. But like, damn,
yeah.
now I get it. Like,
Well, yeah,
Jesus
because
Christ.
it literally felt like they were just gonna chew you up and spit you out. You know what I mean? And one of my
Wow.
coworkers, my old coworkers, I found out like after I left, she had been working for the company for so long. She had like really bad back issues. She was like really hunched over, just all the work over the years. She had to sleep in braces because of her carpal tunnel. It got so bad. She had to wrap her wrists to work. Like, I was like, this is modern day slavery in a way. Like, this
Yeah,
is
low key.
really
Yeah, yeah.
bad.
Getting paid barely shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's why like recently my neuromuscular teacher taught me because neuromuscular hurts. Like it's very like clampy and shit. She told me, yo, every 10 clients get a massage. I know it sounds crazy, but that's if you want to upkeep maintenance with your body, that's where it should be. And I'm like, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. And like a lot of us were barely getting any body work at all.
No, no, there's no time,
There's no time.
but you
Exactly.
gotta make time.
Exactly. Or it was like if you tried to make the time to like maybe trade with a coworker or something like that, they would randomly schedule you
Yeah,
for a client when you told them like, hey, please block off the next hour. I need to get
right.
my back work done or something.
No, just say
And
you're taking a lunch break or some shit. I don't know. You figure it out. You know, like
right, exactly. And yeah, so just a lot of combined experiences from that.
that
And
makes sense.
yeah, like I just and me and McKenna actually we came from the same place. So
No way. Oh, because there was SD work over there too, or something.
yeah, it was kind of similar to like Hand and Stone where it's like massage and facials. They also had nails there. So a lot of the estheticians there were also like what do they call them? They're like they were
Full specialists.
full specialists. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a
Yes,
lot
yeah.
of them were full specialists.
Yeah.
So they would be doing a lot of different kinds of services. Us as
Mhm.
massage therapists, we'd be doing massages as well as like body scrubs or body wraps,
Mhm.
which I hated the what's it called? The Vichy shower. I hated it.
Really? It's just
Yeah.
messy, right?
It's so messy and it was just like really it's just not the work I wanted to do either.
Right, right,
Let's
right.
like I prefer like deep tissue work and I don't want to wrap this person in seaweed and have to
Yeah.
it's too much.
As as shitty as it is, like I'm happy that this happened to you because it propelled you in the right direction. You're just like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
sucks so much. I'm going solo and I'm going hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the thing is like if you love body wraps and doing all those things, it's like maybe that job is totally for you. But I think it was for me, I just knew from the get go, like I was like, I want to do sports massage. I want to do deep tissue. That's what got me into the industry to begin with because that's what I needed as a person. So I wanted to be able to give the massage that I needed.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's what really propelled me into starting my own thing was because it was like if I was getting paid good, I was getting treated bad. If I was getting
Yeah.
treated good, I was getting paid bad. I couldn't find the right
Yeah.
fit. Like this,
The middle ground. Yeah.
yeah, like I was like, I just want to find a place where I
Yeah.
get treated like a person, but like paid enough to just live and survive.
Exactly. All right. So going into the next question, since you brought up sports massage, so the
Mm.
next question is: so why deep tissue and sports massage modalities compared to other modalities? Why did you focus on those two?
hmm So I was always athletic growing up. I was always in sports. And I remember when I was in college, I was lifting a lot all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, when you're lifting a lot and you're not really getting body work very often, your body hurts.
Word. Yeah.
Yeah, you hurt a lot, you don't recover very well, and so I remember like needing that type of body work for myself, and that was like before I even got into massage therapy as a career. I just knew like
Oh, you had massages before?
yeah. So I was just like, I got a sports massage and I was like, oh my gosh, that was like life changing. I needed that. I had horrible like chest tightness because I was always working my upper body and
Okay.
didn't know to stretch my chest or anything. So my sternum was always popping. Like it was,
Okay. Yeah.
it was so bad. And I had a horrible upper back, like pain and tightness and just discomfort. So
Really.
yeah. So like my rhomboids were all, it just felt like my rhomboids were just being like,
Yeah, and when you don't even know what rhomboids are, you're just like, "What is that pain?" And it's just my back. Yeah. Like.
exactly. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, it hurts here. It hurts here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I couldn't get rid of it. And so when I started understanding, like, okay, like this is what body work can do for someone,
Mm-hmm.
super cool. And then when I went into the massage industry, I had that in my head of like, well, that's, that's who I want to work with. I want to work with people that were like me, right? Who had, yeah. And so I was always very fixated on that modality. I feel like I would love to continue my education in terms of like I would love, like we've already talked about this before too, is like
Yeah.
I'd love to get more into neuromuscular work, more medical massage.
Yeah.
um,
All that stuff. Yeah.
Super fun. But yeah, but that's what got me into sports massage and deep tissue was just because it was like you give the massage that you need, right? So it connects
Yeah.
you to that modality like even more if you have a personal experience with it.
Yeah. That's what I noticed. With a lot of people when they pick their modality of choice or they want to like hone into, they
Mhm.
usually it comes from like a past experience of like for you, like I do sports massage. You know what I'm saying? Or like I just like relaxing. I literally just want to do Swedish or whatever the case may be. Or I have seen prenatal, so blah blah blah. Like get
Yeah.
into that. So no, it makes sense. But shifting gears, I always loved your Instagram. I've seen the consistency of it. I've seen the reels. Even 2 years ago, I was like, "Yo, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be." And I'm like, "This is how success looks like, right?"
Aw.
So, yeah.
I
So
appreciate that.
moving on to the next question. The Recover Spa seems hella successful, and so does your Instagram. I've seen you grow in the past 2 years, which is incredible. Other than the consistency, what do you do differently that you think made you successful
Mm.
as like growing your Instagram or in general your company?
I think the first thing was kind of being willing to think outside the box in terms of what I knew. So I say this a lot, but like having a white belt mentality throughout your life is
And
going to be everything. Like if you
you
I have, you know what I mean? I feel like it's like the second you say that I know everything, you're the most naive person in the room.
no, you're right. You're
So,
right. Yeah.
it's so I think it was just being ready to pivot, like maybe realizing like, okay, what I'm doing right now isn't working. Like for instance, right? I didn't have my Instagram. Well, I did have my Instagram when I started my business, but I wasn't making the kind of posts that I make right now. Like I was making like little, just like random posts on there because I knew that social media could help me, but I didn't understand how to do it. I didn't understand like how to make posts that reach people and things like that. So I was kind of like, okay, well, let me stick with marketing strategies that I've seen on TV.
So like infomercials and shit.
Not infomercials, but I got flyers printed. I could barely afford to even buy them,
Yeah,
first of all.
yeah, yeah.
And I literally drove door to door putting
Man, old
flyers on
school.
people's mailboxes and like knocking on people's doors. Like it was, yeah. And
You're a trooper.
I
Yo.
didn't know what else to do.
Right, right, right.
I thought that that was the way. You know, at first I was getting so frustrated because that is a lot of time and energy when you're,
And not a lot
you
of
know
output
this.
sometimes.
Yeah. Because we were talking about this earlier, is like putting yourself out there, like physically going out into the world and trying to get in front
It
of
costs
people.
money, the gas.
It does. It costs money. And as massage therapists, we know our time is very valuable in terms of like, like let's say I'm spending a whole day on the road trying to pass out these flyers when I could be working in a spa, right? And like making money for that, but like you gotta experiment and you just gotta try shit and see what sticks. And that did not stick because I didn't get a single client out of it. I tried going to different events, like local, like boot camps, like workout boot camps, giving out free services, trying to talk to people, just putting yourself out there any way that you can. And I realized I didn't get, like, I got maybe one client out of a whole event. And
Broke even, maybe. Under that.
yes, and they weren't a client that was gonna be like a regular.
Consistent. Yeah, right.
And then I tried the Groupon. People
Ah,
suggested
good.
Groupon. Groupon is a whole other
So
thing.
ghetto.
Groupon is like a Pandora's box. It's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Every time I hear Groupon, I'm just like, let the bullshit start. Like, let the
Yes.
chaos bring. Like,
Yes, and everybody who's ever tried Groupon, I'm sure, has a million gazillion horror stories about
yeah,
it.
exactly.
And so I tried that, and I got a lot of sketchy clients, and I got,
Exactly.
yeah,
Groupon, sketchy, same shit.
yes, and
Yeah,
people who also, like, if they weren't sketchy, they weren't willing to pay my normal rate, right?
right.
So they
Because it's
weren't
Groupon.
gonna
Right.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was also a bust. So then I
And,
tried things like Thumbtack. I tried
oh, that
Thumbtack.
one's even worse. That's worse in a different way. That's just steal your money. Like, they,
Thumbtack is expensive. It's very
yeah.
expensive. And like, plus a lot of the leads on there for massage therapists are also just as sketchy as Groupon. Except you're like, I don't even know it's hard to even tell like which is the most evil platform in terms of
Right,
like
yeah.
scamming you out of
Yeah.
your money.
But,
And so that was also bad. And, I got to the point where I was just like, what do I do, man? Because I was like, I've signed this lease for this space that I can't afford, basically.
for the recover spa?
Yeah, I
Oh.
got a suite, and it was very naive of me because I got that suite without a single client. So
Nah,
I was literally like, my hair was falling
panicking.
out.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
was
no, I
so
feel you. Yeah,
stressed.
that's real fear. That's real fear.
It is.
Yeah,
It's that because those are like that's real adult shit. You know what I mean? Like that's when you're like, wow,
yeah,
okay, this is the real
my
world.
God.
The real world sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I was on Instagram, and I know you follow her too, I'm pretty sure. J Kurt Bodywork on Instagram, Jessica Curtis.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she has like over 100,000 followers now and all this stuff. But I remember following her when she had like 20 something thousand followers,
Mm,
and she started posting about how Instagram changed her career and everything, and how she had just started going solo at that point too, because I believe she
mm,
was posting about how she had been working at a chiropractor's office, and now she had gotten to the point where she can leave her job and go and work for herself full time. And that was the position, like I was in the position of like, I'm working at this corporate spa that I am miserable at. I literally can't wait to leave. And, but I have this business, but it's not profiting, it's not doing well,
Yeah.
and I'm stressed about all these bills and everything. I remember looking at her page and being like, okay, what is she doing that I'm not doing? What's happening? Because she would always say, I get all these clients from Instagram. I'm not
Mm.
doing all this in-person shit that,
Right. Yeah.
and great props to people who do the in-person shit. I just can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But because there are some people who are they have some sort of knack where they're very good at in-person marketing, but that's just not me. And I started noticing the reels that she was posting. They were very educational, and she was, able to show off her expertise and essentially lay out her portfolio online for people to find her. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me start trying. My
Yeah.
early videos were so cringe.
I love it. Yes. I love cringe vids.
My
I'm
early
gonna probably look back at this and be like, wow, this podcast was so cringe, but whatever.
but that's where you start, right? Everybody
Exactly.
starts.
No. That's the beauty of it, the growth. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And so I started kind of trying to make my own version of what she was doing because I didn't have the money to pay for someone to help me or
Mm.
teach me. And I was like, let me just see if I can figure this out on my own. And so I just started like asking, like I had some regular clients I was very comfortable with. And I was like, hey, sorry, this is really weird. Do you mind if I like take a picture of like this cupping on your back for
Yeah.
Instagram? Like I won't show your face, but like, do you mind? And most of them were super nice and allowed me to do that. Sometimes I would work on friends. I know you work on a lot of your friends too. And
Yeah.
I still do to this day a lot. Like that's the easiest way to film content is with people you're comfortable with.
Literally, yeah.
And so, I started doing that. And then I was like starting to realize, like, okay, I can make clips out of these, post it, see what happens. One thing I learned, though, going through that process is how important it is to know your niche and understand who you're trying to market toward. So, because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't understand what your niche is and you don't understand who your ideal client is, it's like an invisible, always moving goalpost. You can't really, like, if you don't have a clear, like you talked a little bit
Makes sense.
earlier about vision, like having a vision,
Yeah.
and if you don't have a vision, it just makes it harder to market because you're like, I don't know who I'm marketing to. I'm kind of just sending this out to everyone and I'm
Yeah.
not calling out anyone specific. I'm just hoping some people pick up on this and like it.
Yeah.
And so over time, I started understanding that more and more, and started tweaking my content to be like, okay,
Mm.
like what kind of person do I want to work on? What kind of problems do they have, and how can I reflect that in my content to
Mm.
attract those types of people? And I've noticed once I started going in that direction, and like you said, like having that vision was, I think, where my page started to grow a little bit more. I started to actually get inquiries from legitimate, like awesome clients that I still have to this day, that are
Mm-hmm.
still with me now. And, they say, oh, hey, I really like your work. You look like you know what you're doing. Like, I have this issue. Like, you think you can help me? Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let's set up the appointment. Boom. And, I didn't even need that many followers. Like, I never thought I'd have as many followers as I have now, which is,
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to be like, oh, cool. Like, we can build this community and stuff like that. But I had maybe like 400 followers to 800 followers at around the
Yeah.
time that I quit my job. By the time I finally got to the point where I could quit, which means like
Mhm.
that's a lot of clients, from a really small page. So it
Yeah.
showed me the power of social media marketing. And so that's when I was like, I'm just going to lean into this shit because it's working better for me. It's saving me time too. So the algorithm can work for you. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like it's working against you, but you know.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly important takeaway and point that you made is that invisible goalpost.
Mhm.
Because even for myself and other LMTs starting off, we just feel like we have to cast this gigantic net and maybe we'll catch some fishes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But the net is so big, like the little individual things that people are just seeping through and we're not catching anything. So tightening up that net and niching is so important so we could get our specific people that we want and people can find us better in the sense of like for you it's sports massage, like I'm assuming athletes or people that work out a lot or whatever the case may be. So I think that's like definitely a great like piece of like advice. Like that makes sense,
Oh
honestly.
yeah.
And Instagram probably likes it too. They're like, yes, all right.
Yeah, because that is how you appeal to the algorithm because the algorithm is like, okay, who do I put you in front of?
Yeah.
Because if it can't figure that out, it won't circulate you. And so, but all of that is literally just trial and error. So it's like, I didn't start out understanding that. And also, too, it kind of taught me how to like structure your page, things like that, to
Yeah.
the point where somebody can click on your page and immediately understand what it is that you do.
Right.
That's super
The
important.
navigation of it and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when somebody clicks on your page, you only have a couple seconds to make a good first
Literally.
impression
Yeah.
to, keep them on your page or to even provoke them to book with you. Provoke sounds like such a strong word, but you know what I mean.
True. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
kind of invoke that type of response of like, oh, I need to book with them. So I've realized it's like, I can see the difference between pages that niche down and pages that don't. And
Yeah.
if you're ever like looking at like this would probably be my biggest advice to anybody who's wanting to social media market at all in any business is like if you feel like you are looking at your page and you have to like click and scroll through all the posts to finally understand what you're like to get an idea of what it is that you do, you need to niche down even more and you need to refine those posts a little bit more so that people who have no idea who you are can see you right away and they're like, yes, that's what they do. That's who I'm looking for. It's
So
like
it's
a
almost
resume.
like, I'm sorry, what?
It's like a resume, your
No,
page.
it makes sense. Yeah. So it almost seems like what I'm getting is like you have to put yourself in the eyes of the client,
Mm-hmm.
really,
Yeah.
and then because we're just seeing it through like the owner's eyes.
Yeah.
But no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's good. So just getting into other little tidbits that we were talking before, booking apps. Like, what is your
Oh, yeah.
experience? Like, let's talk about it because I know we probably went through the gauntlet of booking apps. I know I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have definitely researched a lot of different ones. And the one that I use right now is Gloss
Mhm.
Genius. Have you ever tried that one? I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
have or
I
not.
was I was on it for I think a good 8 months, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean I didn't really like it, but that's my personal thing.
Yeah.
But tell me how you like it.
Well, the reason why I even ended up on it was
Yeah.
because I didn't have the money to afford a different booking app. And the suite that I was renting, they had a special partnership with Gloss Genius.
And it's a
And
good app, that
it's,
honestly.
yeah, I mean, in the beginning, it was very behind all the others. And I'm
Uh,
sure that's definitely why you switched, is because there was a lot of features that they just didn't have on
right,
that
right,
app.
right.
It was very, like, basic, very, very
Yeah.
basic. They've definitely stepped it up since then. They're constantly adding new features now, but back then, like 2 years
2 years
ago,
ago.
3 years ago, it was super basic. And, I think a lot of people probably chose not to go with it because of that.
Yeah.
But since I have left, that suite and stuff, and like they stopped paying for my subscription essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ended up staying with Gloss mainly because switching booking apps can be such a hassle.
It is actually.
Yeah, and I'm sure because it sounds like you've tried a bunch of different ones. So
Yeah.
you're kind of like, oh gosh, I have to manually enter in all these clients. And if you have an established client base, you're like, good Lord, like
Yeah.
awful. I have a friend who successfully did it, but she said it took her months to like fully transition.
Yeah. No, and here's another thing. Like, you had a brick and mortar place. Like, I like specifically Gloss Genius, and this is why I left.
Mm-hmm.
Specific booking apps are more appropriate for brick and mortar places.
Yeah.
I was still and still am a traveling massage therapist, mobile massage therapist.
Yeah.
It didn't fit for me. That's why I had to go to other things. But in your case, I feel like a brick and mortar place is perfect with Los Genius.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So, and they're good, and I found that they're very user friendly. I'm not
They
a
are. They're so
person.
nice. Yeah, they're so friendly. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it worked for me, but I have definitely researched like Vagaro. I've researched what is it called, Massage Books. I've kind of gone through all those different kinds of apps. I did look at Booksy and all
Mm-hmm.
those, and Square. There are some out there that like for a lot of people, like I tend like if they're asking for recommendations based off of what I've seen and looked at, I would say like Vagaro and Booksy are really great for a lot of people. I think like if I had a chance to do it over and not have to go through that super unpleasant process of switching over my entire database of
Right.
clients,
Yeah, yeah.
I would probably be going with a more capable system when it comes to things like, I don't know, if you want like a membership function, right?
Right.
If you
Yeah.
want, I don't know, if you want a booking site that maybe is more friendly for, I don't know, if you want to have like a different kind of landing page, stuff like that. Like every booking platform can be so different in those ways.
They're
And
complicated.
some are really hella expensive too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So what's your thoughts about like booking apps as compared to websites? Like, do you think we should have both? You think we should just have one? Like, I don't know. What's your thoughts?
That's a great question. I never really thought about that, but
Yeah.
I feel like for those of us who again are not super tech friendly,
Mhm.
like I don't understand computers. But setting up my phone to do this podcast, I'm like, wow, I'm like really bad at this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think like the booking apps do make it a little bit easier and a little
It
bit
is.
more like we can set this stuff up quickly, right? So if we're opening our business and we're just trying to get ourselves out there and make it so that people can book with us, I think the
Mhm.
booking apps are a little bit better at, catering to those people that don't really know how to set up a website.
Right, right, right.
I think having a website though, like having an actual website is more professional. And that's a
Yeah.
great way to stand out like on Google. If you're, especially when you're newer, right? If you're newer and you don't have a ton of like reviews behind you, maybe you don't have a super developed social media presence or anything like that. You're trying to win over people's trust, through the internet. And I think having, a nice website can definitely do that. That's a whole rabbit hole that I feel like I'd have to hire someone to help me with
Yeah.
that.
No, I feel you. Yeah.
But I definitely would say like there's a lot of value in it. And I've seen a lot of people who have really professional websites and they were able to sync it up with their booking site where when you click like book now on their main page, it
Yeah.
goes over to the app.
Yeah.
And that's super nice. So I feel like if people could figure out how to do that, I'm sure that would be extra helpful. But yeah,
That's
with
cool.
Gloss, I do get like a little landing page and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah, yeah.
easier for me to get
That's
started.
what I liked about Gloss because I'm like, oh, it's very simple and laid out and like just straightforward. Like, here's
Yeah.
what I do. Here's just book the service. That's it. Like,
Yeah, super simple. It's gotten more polished over the years, which is
good.
nice. So hopefully in a few more years it'll be even more so. But
Cool, cool,
yeah.
cool. All right, so moving on, let's talk about the awkwardness of tipping. Like, tell me your stories. We know
Uh,
it's well. First of all, like before you start, like I've been noticing a trend. I don't know if you've seen it.
yeah.
I mean, to each their own. Some LMTs are against tipping. They're like, I hate tipping culture. Yeah, and they're like, I'm taking it off my menu entirely. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I never thought of that. But anyways, tell me your stories of tipping.
No, that's a very good point. And I think a lot of people are really burnt out from tipping culture right now. I think it's
Yeah,
certainly got out of hand. Like
yeah,
big time. Like there's businesses where I was at the airport and a lady handed me like she just checked out my stuff. She didn't even say hi to me or anything like that. She just rung up my stuff and charged me
yeah.
and then turned the thing around for me to give her a tip. And I'm like, for what?
That's literally the
Like
meme. That's like the internet meme. Like, oh my god,
I
that's
was like,
wild.
I'll just go to the self checkout, I guess. Like it's not, you know what I mean? I don't like it's gotten really out
It's
of
gotten
hand
out of hand.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah.
think
And like
Starbucks like got it out of hand. Honestly, it's like, but
yes.
you're doing your job. Like, you're not bringing the food to me. What the fuck?
Yes,
Yeah,
and you're not even being that nice to me either. Like why am I? And at the end of the day, though, those companies they know what they're doing because the thing is like they can get out of paying their employees as much if they basically have you as the consumer make up for that.
right.
So that little knowing that I'm definitely a little bit more like reserved about tipping for certain things, mainly
So
because I'm yeah. Go
I'm sorry. As an LMT, are generally speaking, like, are you a fan of tipping, or would you rather like abolish it, or in between?
I feel like, in my opinion, I am still pro tipping,
Right. Yeah. Me too.
mainly because I know the effort, the special effort and time and attention that I dedicate to my clients that they're not going to get everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So, but, also like remembering that somebody giving you a tip is gratitude that's a gift, right? And it shouldn't be
Exactly.
expected. And the way that we're
I
talking
agree.
about it in tipping culture, where like in these places like maybe Starbucks or
It's
fast
like
food
it's
place,
expected.
they mean mug you if you don't
Yeah,
give them
exactly.
their
No.
$2.
Yeah. But it's a balancing act because
Yeah.
like I don't expect it ever. But
Mhm.
damn, if you're gonna do it, don't do this awkward dance with me. Just do it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
And with the whole like gratitude thing, like I do agree, and this is why I do kind of support for the time being tipping because it's the litmus paper of did I do a good job or a bad job, you know? And
There's a big difference in
yeah, if I get $5, okay, that sucks, but at least you're telling me I sucked, generally speaking, and that's okay. That's constructive criticism.
it
I'll
is.
do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
It's very
so
true. And I think it's also like, especially in the solo community, I feel like this is even more of a hot topic in the solo community because we all know like when you go work for a spa, you're working half for the money that you're getting paid and half for the tip, right? Like
or
that tip
less, or
is a
less. Yeah,
big right, like that's a very big part though of your take home pay is
literally,
the
like
tips.
yeah, sometimes it's 40 to 60% that tip. Like
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah,
yeah,
that tip can make a big difference in terms of the money that you're bringing home because like, if you're making like $20 an hour, right? Like that, like you're really hoping to get that tip
another
because
20.
right.
At
So,
least.
so it's a really big deal when you're working for another business because that's literally
Right.
part of your take home pay that is very crucial. But when you're working for yourself, a lot of people say, well, like, do I need to tip if like all the money goes to you?
That's what I'm thinking. The solo LMTs are the ones that are saying they're anti-tipping. I'm like, well,
Right.
I guess I'm not fully there yet, so I'm not comprehending. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I think it depends because I think I can understand where they're coming from, especially when it's like a specifically a medical treatment, right? Like you're maybe
Right. Yeah.
working with somebody and it's going through their insurance,
I get that. I get that. Actually.
right?
Yeah.
Like to me that does make sense. Tips are still always appreciated, right? Because like you said, I could do a really good job or I could do a really bad job. Either way, you still got a massage, but the quality of it, can vary from therapist to therapist. And I think it's like if you can afford to tip, it's nice. But as a massage therapist, I feel like it's good to not be sitting there like being like, I need this tip. Like,
Right. Exactly. No, I agree.
like
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
yeah, like don't like expect it and don't put that on your client. If you need to make more, just price
Up your
accordingly.
prices. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
just reflect that in your prices. If you're like, hey, like my overhead is this much, like I need to make sure I make X amount.
Don't
Make
put it
sure,
where you expect it to survive. Like that's
yeah,
the
yeah, just
right.
don't put that on your client, and if they tip you on top of that, awesome.
That's
Super
an
nice,
extra.
super
Yeah.
appreciated, but not necessary.
Not expected. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And
So
so
I
that's
get
the
it.
thing is like I feel like I'm still pro tip because this is such a service-based industry and it varies
Mhm.
so much by person. Same thing as like, your waitress at the restaurant, right? It's like
Yeah.
they could be really warm and welcoming and really nice and they can make you recommendations on the menu and all those things or you could get the waitress that's kind of just like what do you want?
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
changes the experience. So, I think because of that, I am kind of more pro tip.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm pro. I'm just I really want to interview someone who's not. I really want to see what's in their head.
yeah,
I mean, I just think it's interesting, you know. But
yeah,
yeah,
no, it definitely.
I have been in a. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it definitely is interesting, and I understand their point of view. Like, it
Yeah,
totally makes sense to me. I think it's probably just varies by person about how you feel about it.
yeah.
You know?
And I think depending on what kind of space you have, if it's clinical, if it's spa, if it's whatever, like that depends. Because, like you said, when it's medical, you don't tip the doctor, you don't tip your nurse. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right,
So,
right.
but I was working in an awkward setting where it was kind of spa and clinical.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at this place that was just all neuromuscular, which was dope as hell because that's like what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're not a spa. I'm like, but you're not a clinic. But I still need to get paid. So like,
Yeah.
right. So when we did do like work, we get paid very no, we get paid whatever appropriately, but we got tipped very low. And I'm like, and then they would just tell me they're like, well, sometimes we don't even get tipped. I'm like, what the hell? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's more on the medical side. But here's the thing, and this is my gripe with with the massage world and like insurances and all that shit. Like I just hear it's like a nightmare. That's why I haven't even approached it.
I
You
haven't
know,
either. Yeah.
it's like
I know a
not
lot of
working
kinds either.
insurance.
You kind
Yeah,
of have to
but
fight with the.
I and this is why I created this global body worker space is to figure out from region to region,
Mm-hmm.
country to country, how they go about it. Because I'm pretty sure, and I'm gonna eventually talk to RMT. You know
Yeah.
RMT
Yes.
in Canada because it's like free, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm assuming that insurance thing is way more seamless. You
Yes.
know, and they probably like their registered massage therapists probably like just like it's almost expected that they're gonna get paid like through
Mhm.
their insurance, almost as if like a nurse or a doctor just
Yes.
like doesn't think twice that they're gonna get or a dentist is gonna get paid via the insurance or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's why I really like this space to like learn about different countries, different regions, and all that stuff because
Definitely.
it blew my mind when I was massaging someone. They're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Where are you from?" They're like, "Oh, Canada." I'm like, "Oh, you're a massage therapist? Oh, cool. How long did you go to school for?" 6 years. I'm like, "The fuck, 6 years?"
Uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What? How many modalities you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
All of them.
all of them? Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you mastered every modality? Like, yeah." So I
You
was,
know, thinking about that too, I do wonder like how that like I'm curious because I'm sure like probably a lot more people are able to go and get massages there too. Like how that would affect like, how many different kinds of clients you're able to get like and also like do you get as many creepers over there or not as many
probably
or
not. I would assume not, but who knows?
yeah. I
Yeah.
because I'm kind of like if it's treated more medically, I wonder what differences that would create within the massage industry as a whole over there.
Yeah, and this is why I built this space so we could learn from them. And what you're doing right, I need to apply here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
because like, let's be real. I feel like, and I can't talk because I'm not a female. Like the biggest constant freaking issue is creepers, and I'm like, but I'm like,
Yeah.
males is like I would say maybe 70% of your clientele. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do you deal with it? What is the answer? Like we haven't found one yet.
Exactly. Like there's not a great system put in place yet for I mean everybody has their own individual way of dealing with it and hopefully, some people are learning how to deal with it very effectively, just for their own safety and everything. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's not and you don't that's something too that I really wish that they would teach you more about in massage school is how to deal with those situations,
and
how to be
yeah,
safe.
and here's the
Yeah.
thing, and this is why I'm so happy I'm becoming a teacher. I'm gonna have a very realistic approach, not this like fluff la la land kind of thing, which
Right.
has its place
It
to
does.
encourage people. But I'm gonna keep it real. Like I might even do some role playing. I'll be like, all right, this is a very uncomfortable situation. I hate to say, if you're a female, I would say 85% sure this is gonna happen to you. I just
Yeah.
hate to say
Yeah.
it, but I might just like role play, like clothes, of course, but like role play a guy undraping himself,
Of course.
or some BS like that, or even a female, or like switch to gender roles, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But being uncomfortable and dealing with this now in school
Mhm.
and learning how to react, because I'm pretty sure 18, 19-year old like female that's maybe just not like comfortable like just being around naked people, this is our profession, will just freeze up,
Yeah.
or even a guy, they'll just freeze up and they're just like, what do I do? And then shit just rolls and gets worse.
It's
So
true.
role playing might just help. But yeah,
Yeah.
just rolling into that, I don't know, how did you deal with creepers in general effectively?
I mean, one, I started keeping mace in the massage room.
Good.
I just keep it with me everywhere. I'm just like, you never
Or
know.
a taser, right? Like,
No, I have one in my car. I
yeah,
got
say that again. Say that one more time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think in the beginning it was kind of like I didn't understand all the red flags. Again, something I wish
That's why
I
it's
would have taught
important in
more.
school to point out
Yes,
red flags.
because
Yeah,
these are, when it comes to especially being solo, right? Your personal safety is a little bit more at risk when maybe there's not as many people in the building that you can run to, or
right,
worst case scenario, you scream and nobody hears you, right?
right.
So, I think learning the red flags was super crucial right from the get-go. At first I didn't understand the red flags, and so if it got to a point where my client was being very disrespectful, maybe being handsy, or you can clearly tell that there's sexual implication, I would just kind of make an excuse. At first I'd be like, I'm so sorry, I'm not feeling well, I have to end this session.
Right.
And
Yeah.
to avoid confrontation as well,
Right.
I would,
Right.
only accept payment for the work that I did. I wouldn't like fully charge them. Now I'd be like, you owe me, you
Well,
owe, pay
that's
me,
why
and get out
I
of
take
here.
prepayments. I take
Yeah.
prepayments because people
Yeah.
cancel. Shit, I cancel. You know what I'm saying? People
Yeah.
cancel,
Yeah.
and like me personally, I know a separate topic, but like I'm
Mhm.
okay with cancellations. This is just me. I'm
Yeah.
very like flexible. But you already paid me. I don't care. Like you
Yeah.
just come whenever. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
Exactly.
so you're saying,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, and I was like that for so long too, because especially, if it's kind of like like maybe you have a little bit more like openings in your schedule and stuff like that. It's like way more flexible. So it's just like, yeah, like
it
whatever. Like
depends. It
not
depends.
that deep,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
And then when your schedule gets more packed, you probably make more
that's
changes
when
as
you
you
have to make
go.
changes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the creeper thing. I think it was,
It,
I would kind of end the session and I would just only charge for the work that I did just to avoid any confrontation.
complicated. Yeah.
Even if I suffered a lot financially for it, I would rather just be safe at the end of the day.
Mhm.
One thing I started really being anal about pretty early on was not being afraid to turn away someone if they were texting me anything that gave off any kind of red
For
flags.
sure.
Like,
For sure.
because that's the only way you can prevent it from happening, really,
Because
before they
we're
get on the
allowing it.
table.
We're allowing it, so you have to
Yeah.
block it off before it becomes a problem. Yeah.
And I learned those red flag phrases, right? Like, do you do full body? Or
You care
hey,
about draping,
yeah, or asking to not be draped, right?
right? Right.
Because, they get hot or whatever they
It's
say.
the same shit all the time. It's the same
It's
shit.
like it's
Yeah.
like they all have the same script in front of them and they're
Yeah.
just
No,
like,
really. Like.
yes,
Really.
or they'll name weird modalities of massage that are very sexual and things like that, and be like, "Oh, do you do
Bro.
this?" And I'd be like, "Heck no," and like block, And yeah, and so I think like that is probably like if anybody is struggling with how to deal with that, I would say like make that your priority is like because most of these people will reach out to you through text before they actually come to see you because they want to check
Test your
to
limits.
see, right, so they want to see like how manipulative or how manipulated can this person be or whatever. They're trying to see like, will they like tell me to F off or something, and so that's what they're doing. They're testing the waters. So like don't be numb to that. Like if you notice that they're doing that, end it right away. Just be like, sorry, I'm not the therapist for you. Have a good day. Close it out. So that's probably what or that is what I do. And I've noticed I barely deal with any weirdos anymore.
That's good.
The last
So
time I got one
basically,
was a long, long time ago.
damn. So
Just yeah, hella boundaries. Hella boundaries. And don't worry, like there will be other clients. So it's like
exactly.
don't chase the money in the short term because it's like you never know with some of these people. I am convinced that I came across a murderer at one point. I think he
Damn.
murdered his massage therapist. I'm not even kidding. And I have a client who is in law enforcement, and I was explaining to him that
The
that
scenario.
yeah, the scenario, and he was like, I don't know, I think he murdered his massage therapist. And I
Like
was
a
like,
traveling? Like holy shit.
so
That's
yeah, you never know. Like
yeah.
you don't know who's on your table. So it's like
Yeah.
be as safe as possible.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Rolling in before my battery dies and this
Yeah,
gets cut
same,
short.
same. I know. I'm
All
at
right.
like probably 15% right now.
All right. The second to last topic, upselling, right? We have a
Mhm.
lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know why LNTs have this awkward thing that they're afraid to upsell. I don't even like the word upselling, but
Mhm.
like they're afraid of like saying like for me, I'm like, yeah, you could like book this, but when you're sitting down on my table, I'll be like, all right, what's your issues? This is what I actually recommend. This is your choice if you want to, do this or continue with what you booked and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts about like this whole like awkwardness with LNTs and upselling and all this stuff?
Mhm. I think like I mean, I know you and me kind of a little bit got into this before we
Yeah.
recording, but we're not being trained to sell. We're just being trained to massage. So it's like it is no question as to why we're so uncomfortable doing it, because we're not being taught. And like you said, your experience with Hand and Stone, like they kind of teach you to sell a little bit more, which is a really valuable skill. And we should be taught that. But I think for me, I'm a horrible salesperson
So
in person. I am, and I know that about myself. So what I ended up doing is I restructured my pricing to help
right.
me with that. So basically, I'm pretty sure you probably know this already about my practice. Is like I kind of charge like a solid rate for my time, and so whatever modalities they kind of need or require during that like hour that they booked me for the most part, is all covered within that. So I don't have as much like awkwardness about
Yeah,
like
it's not a bunch of different prices all over the place. It's just like set. That's what I'm hearing.
right, right,
Oh, okay.
exactly. Can you still hear me? Sorry, I think my mic
Yeah,
is
you're good.
my mic's okay. Okay, I'm
Okay.
can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
just rolling into the last question, right? Lastly, if you could tell something to each one of your future clients, what would it
Uh-huh.
be? If you could just telepathically talk to them,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I would tell them that, at the end of the day, and this is a concept that I learned from my mentor in massage school that I still carry with me now. Everybody is an athlete in their own way. So, like, depending
True.
on your lifestyle and everything, if you work with me, you will be treated
Like an
with the
athlete.
level of diligence that I would put into any other athlete, right? So, and yeah, and your goals are my goals, right? So and that's something I put a lot of effort into when I'm communicating with any of my clients, but especially my
Mm.
new ones, is reminding them like, hey, like you're not a number. Like I care about you. I want you to improve. I want to work to the point where you don't need me anymore. I want
Exactly.
you to be
Yeah.
able to move on with your life, and
Yeah.
if you're having an issue, that you're not having that issue a year from now. So and I think it's like when you operate like that, because there's a lot of people out there that will try to do whatever they can to retain these clients, right? Say like,
Yeah.
oh, you need to come and see me forever,
Yeah.
to keep out of these issues, or to keep these issues at bay.
Mm.
And if you work like that, you're not good at your job, frankly, and
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
meant to be an insult, but it's just meant as in like, clearly you're not doing your best to get that person well. So when you switch to a mindset of like, hey, let me do what I can so that this person doesn't need me anymore, don't worry, they're going to go out and tell all their friends how amazing you are.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid for your client to say, oh, I'm all healed and I'm all better and I
I'm
don't
all
need
good. Yeah.
session. Like that's a good thing. So, and
No,
that's
it's
what
true.
I try to operate under with my
Yeah.
business.
And that's a very honest and genuine mindset, and that's probably what excelled you to like greatness and all that jazz. So
Oh, I
no,
appreciate
that's good.
it.
Yeah, totally. But thank you so much, Miranda, for your time and all your nuggets of knowledge and all that jazz. So this is a great first podcast, and I'm really excited to keep doing these and learning more from you and all that jazz. So
Thank
thank you
you so
so
much
much.
for having me. I've loved this. It's so fun to talk to you.
Yeah, it was cool. I learned definitely a lot about you and just a lot about like how you go about things, and like it's definitely useful information for everyone. So I hope anyone listening, can grab all these pieces of information and use them and excel with it. So thanks so much. I'll definitely be DMing you and following your journey and all that jazz. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Awesome.
supporting. All right, awesome. All right, so I'll see you. Take care. Bye.